Countdown?
Nah, just let me know.
You are rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of the Iron Life Podcast. I am your host, Chris Tutela, here to help you live an iron life. It has been quite some time since my last episode. It's been a couple of weeks here since my last conversation with Kenny Johnson. So my apologies. It's just been one thing after the next with handling some business stuff. We have had a lot going on, actually, and as in addition to just kind of enjoying what was the end of summer here. We are in the tail end of Gab's pregnancy. We are just about, I think, actually over the 8-month mark now. So we got a month left to go. So that has been pretty exciting, but it's been, as all of you dads and moms listening, you know how it is going back and forth to the doctors every week once we get into that tail end there. So there's been a lot going on, but all great stuff. And I'll fill you guys in. So we actually went to go see Hootie and the Blowfish at PNC back in early August, which was fucking awesome. I mean, if you guys are Hootie and the Blowfish fans, they did an amazing job. They sounded great. What was the name of the band that opened up for them? Collective Soul opened up for them. So if you guys know Collective Soul, they did an awesome job. Two old men that were sitting next to me came about a second away from having a full-blown fist fight, which was pretty fucking entertaining. So that was a great time. So if you get a chance to see Hootie and the Blowfish, for all you Hootie fans, I highly recommend. They put on an awesome show. And what else has been going on since? Joe DeFranco and I put on the Iron Business Weekend. That was back in, I want to say that was that late July or was that early August? I can't even remember. I think it was August. Yeah, it was definitely August. But we had 12 gym owners from all around the country come out. Great, powerful, impactful weekend. We not only do we do a deep dive into how to grow a gym business, but it's just the connections that you make and the people that you meet. You know, there's a lot of great people in this industry, and fortunately, I've been blessed with the opportunity to get to meet a lot of them. From me traveling, attending different events and seminars and workshops and things of that nature, but now being able to host these events and have people come out to learn from Joe and myself. But also, when they come to these events, we get to learn from them as well, because there's just so much good stuff, good conversation, and great people. So that was awesome. And here we are. What is it today? August 29th. By the way, for my UFC fans out there, Dricus Du Plessis versus Adesanya. What a fight. Great job by DDP. A few people were talking about, like, is Adesanya done? Man, I don't think Adesanya's done. I think that he's getting up there in age, but he looked great in that fight. But he got taken down, and there wasn't much he was going to be able to do on the ground. He made a mistake, but great fight overall. So give me a shout out if you are listening right now and you're a UFC fan, so I know we could do a little bit more like deep dives into certain fights and fight cards coming up, because that's always right up my alley. Now, let's get to today's show. All right, so today, what I want to talk to you guys about, because this has been coming up a lot lately. So we talk about, like, the Iron Life podcast. First off, what is this show about, and who is it for? If you're a new listener, or if you're just kind of curious, like, hey man, is this show for me? So this podcast, it doesn't matter if you're a gym owner. It doesn't matter if you're a dude that's trying to drop body fat and get into shape. There's basically, when I sat down and I really thought about it, I was like, there's 3 buckets here that we want to cover on the show. So this show is meant to help people master their health, build wealth through building their businesses, and achieve ultimate fulfillment in their lives, right? So master their health, build wealth, achieve ultimate fulfillment. Like, that is what this show is all about. That's what fires me up. That's what I feel my purpose is here, to help people do that, help you do that. So that kind of brought me to today's topic as I was thinking about, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I've had some questions. And so I think that a lot of us struggle, whether in business or in our personal lives, with this feeling of being meant for more, being meant for something bigger, something greater than what we're currently doing. A lot of us feel stuck in our lives. Again, that could be stuck in your business, stuck in a phase of your business and this new life cycle of your business, or just stuck in your fitness, stuck in your relationships, but we feel stuck and we feel that we're meant for something more. We feel that we have this potential inside of us, but we don't know how to get that out of us. Right. So I want to share a couple stories on how I can relate to that and some of the instances that I've faced in my life, with hopes that maybe that will resonate with you and maybe you could take some nuggets here and be able to apply that. Okay. So, excuse me as I caffeinate myself here. So first off, I've gone through this several different times that I could remember in my life. All right. The first, in my early 20s, I felt as if, man, I knew that like fitness and training was an obsession of mine. Like I was absolutely obsessed with learning the best strategies for building strength, helping athletes get bigger, stronger, faster. And that's where my career really started and I wanted to take to the next level. And I felt like I had this knowledge, this information, but I just didn't know how to get it out there. And I felt like people didn't see that in me, but I knew it inside that I had it in me. And I just, maybe there's people that were doubting me, whether they were my friends or family members or whoever, but I just knew that I had this potential and I wanted to create something. So that kind of so of course that affects your confidence when people doubt you, especially when you don't have the proof yet. You haven't done the thing yet. So you ask yourself, like, can I do this? Is it really possible for me to achieve X, Y, Z or build X, Y, Z? But then there's this other side of me that's like cocky almost, right? Like maybe just naive and young. And you're thinking like, I know I can do this. I know that this is 100% possible. So it's like these two sides that you're going back and forth. But when you have something to prove, and I know especially for young men, when you have something that you want to prove, you get this chip on your shoulder that you're going to do whatever the fuck it takes in order to be successful. So once I was locked in and I knew I wanted to start a training business, I wasn't even thinking of opening a gym yet. I knew that was something that I wanted to do in the future, but I felt like this was the first step. So I figured out how to create a business Facebook page, as silly as that sounds. We're talking back in 2008, 2009. I scrapped up some money to put flyers together. I spent hours and hours a day, editing some videos that I was just like, I don't have any fucking videography skills, but I was putting things together to try to get like a hype video on Facebook. I spent hours per day driving around, leaving brochures, at different businesses. I trained my friends, my family members. I wrote them diets, got people results, and just started moving the needle. I was also at the same time, like, had no money, going around talking to different gym owners and asking them if I could rent space. So just putting the pieces in place that would lead to my success, those things were building confidence for me, and my confidence was growing. And I had, again, this thought that I am meant to do this. I felt like I wasn't happy with where I was in my life, and I knew this is something that I wanted to create. I knew that I had the potential. I knew I was meant for more, so I fucking relentlessly pushed, and I moved the needle. and eventually found the perfect location for me to rent space for it was maybe $400 a month at the time. Had one client, maybe two, that I started this process with. So taking a risk, but got the ball rolling. Eventually, word of mouth, the flyers that I was putting out there. It's funny when I think about how I was spreading the word back then. So between the flyers and everything else I was doing, started to get some clients. All right, cool. We got some traction now. Great. We got it going. All right. I shut up some of the doubters and haters in the beginning, right? But now I have this going. And now this is going on from 2009, 2010, 2011. And although I was making some money on occasion, I would get, I was doing one-on-one training back then for the most part. And even my group training was small groups. So people would give me cash for the most part. They'd give me a check and they would give me these lump sums. So sometimes I would be piss broke. Sometimes I would have a couple bucks in my pocket. So I still, although I gained some confidence from the experience and the results I was producing, I still felt that there was a lot more potential, and I felt very insecure about being broke more times than I actually had money in my pocket. And my friends were taking trips to Vegas at this point, now I'm in still my early 20s, but I'm probably 22-ish, 23 maybe. My friends are going to Vegas. They're going out to the city, and I'm just like, I'm making the trip to the city, but I'm barely spending any cash. I don't really have money, and I felt embarrassed about that. And I felt like, man, I don't want to continue living my life like this. My girlfriend at the time would have to pay for dinner for me. I felt like a bum. And I felt like there was, again, so much more potential that I had, and I just haven't achieved that yet. So I said, I want to put this to rest. I want to start making some real money. I didn't 100% believe in myself that I can do it, make real money in fitness. So I said, the best thing for me, I think, would be to become either a cop or a firefighter. So I could have the salary, I could have the benefits, and I could have the time off to still train people. I said, that's how I'll make this happen. So I started taking tests, police tests, firefighter exams, and stuff like that. Started looking for civil service exams and then other independent departments that were holding exams. And a lot of the chatter that I was getting at the time was, man, you know how many people want those jobs? It's really a long shot for you to become a fireman or a cop. You got to know somebody who knows somebody if you want to get in the door. And I thought to myself, that's bullshit. I could absolutely figure this out. I'm just going to work harder than everybody else because that's what I know, right? I'm a grinder. I will grind that shit out. I will figure out, okay, what do I need to do? How could I move the needle so I can be one of the guys that's considered for a job? So I decided to become a volunteer for the Springfield Fire Department because I just so happened to be driving past the firehouse one day. I saw that they had a sign, volunteers want it. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to volunteer. Knowing nothing about firefighting whatsoever, okay? Nothing whatsoever. I have a cousin who was a chief in the Newark Fire Department, but it wasn't like we were talking about firefighting or anything like that. He had a construction background. I certainly do not. So I didn't know shit about fighting fire, but I walked in there. I was nervous. I was timid. But I said, hey, I would like to volunteer. And they said, okay, you got to go to the fire academy. It's starting in a couple weeks. And I said, all right, cool. Let's do it. So at the time I had personal training clients. And I said, how am I going to set this up? The fire academy is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. I forget the times, man. Maybe it was 6 or 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then it was all day Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. And it was a semester, really. So what's that come out to, 4 months or something like that? Something along those lines. So I'm like, all right, I got to see if I could move some of my training clients around to make this happen. So I had to move my Saturday clients to Sunday. I had to move some of my evening clients that were Monday, Wednesday, Friday to Tuesday, Thursday. I had to really finagle some shit, and I was able to make it work. The other thing was that I wasn't making enough money to support my life through training. Okay, like I told you, I was broke. So I was also landscaping with a friend. Shout out to Frank D'Alessio. Landscaping with a friend who owned a landscaping company, so I could make an extra couple $100 per week to pay for some of my living expenses. So I think I was landscaping on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the day. Before and after landscaping, I would have my personal training clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'd have my early morning, early afternoon clients. And then Sundays. So 7 days a week for 4 months. I knew that's what it would take. In addition, the fire service was so brand new to me that I didn't want to look like an absolute fool. So I said, I have to fucking study my ass off in order to make this work. And I need to train physically for what's required. So I did both. I really made sure that I studied my textbook inside and out every week. Like I took it really, really serious. I faced a lot of fear in the fire academy. Some of you listening may be firefighters. Maybe you could relate to what I'm talking about. But man, first off, I never climbed a ladder, like a real ladder in my life that was, pretty fucking high to go on roofs and, never mind ventilate a roof. So like I'm doing things that I've never done in my life, going on I don't know how friggin' tall the building was anymore, but it was, three stories high, carrying up roof ladders, carrying up saws, going on a roof, cutting friggin' holes. And like, these were things that I was scared to do. Going through the maze, completely blacked out. You're on your stomach, crawling through. You're on air and all your turnout gear. I was claustrophobic, so I was dealing with that, or at least I thought I was. So you're dealing with a lot of shit that I had to overcome. And I'll tell you what, man, that was going through the fire academy was such a pivotal point for me because it forced me to do shit that made me really, really uncomfortable. Things that were really new for me. Things that I've never experienced in my life. Things that I was really afraid of doing. But doing them led me to gaining confidence and also realizing that I am capable of doing some of these things that people doubted me, and maybe things that I've even doubted myself. Like, can I do this? I didn't know. But I did it, got through it, and I actually came out number 2 in my class for academic scores, right? So that was a huge milestone for me too, because after high school, like I always fucked around in high school, but I always felt like, I could have gotten good grades, but I just didn't give a shit, right? And I didn't. But I also had this thing where I felt stupid because all my friends went to college, and I felt like I'm not doing anything with my life. I felt stupid. So that was getting a high rank in my class at the fire academy was a huge win for me personally, because it made me believe in myself a little bit more and made me say, like, all right, I'm not stupid, right? Like I can do this. I just have to apply myself just like anything else, right? So it was a huge win for me there. All right. So now I gained this confidence. Springfield takes me on as a volunteer, and now they start promoting shortly after I get on as a volunteer that they're going to be hosting a test in like the next couple of months. I think it was like within a year from me finishing the fire academy, something like that. So I said, okay, I know that there's going to be a written portion, an oral portion, and a physical portion. And by the way, there was an oral interview for the volunteer position, and I fucking botched it. Like, I didn't think that I was going to get it. I was so insanely nervous. I wasn't expecting, like, the chief, and there's a few other like administrators in the room, and I was so nervous. I was fumbling my words, and I was like, there's no way I'm getting it. Like, they're going to think that I'm a complete friggin' moron. I ended up getting it, but that was another learning experience for me, because I knew that I needed to prepare better. and I knew that was something that I was going to be nervous going in, so I needed to make sure that I was prepared. So I prepared for the oral by practicing some of the questions going online, kind of figuring out what are some of the questions that they might ask. The written, I was studying, I was doing everything I could to prepare myself for that exam. Again, going online, taking practice exams. But the physical portion, a lot of people think if you're in shape, then that's good enough, but it's not. You have to train specifically. It's the law of specificity, right? You have to train specifically for the tasks that are required if you want to do well. So running in and out of cones with a roof ladder, doing the stairs, doing all the things that were going to be on the exam. So I trained my fucking ass off. So I had my strength training 3 days per week, and 2 days a week I would do the drills that I knew were going to be on the exam. So anyway, point is, I was well prepared. I was well prepared for every fucking aspect, and I smoked the exam as a whole. I came out number 2 out of, a few hundred people who took the test. I was 2 overall, and I got hired on the first round. There was 3 of us that got hired. I was the second guy. There was 3 of us total. So again, huge win, right? Now that feeling of wanting more, feeling like I was meant for more, now I was gaining a little bit more confidence, right? My life was moving forward. I felt like, all right, you told me that I couldn't start a training business, I did it. You told me I couldn't become a firefighter, well, I did it. And by the way, 2 months before actually getting hired by the fire department, that was the time where I opened my gym. So I opened my gym in June of 2012 because I was still building my clientele and training people. I opened my gym in June of 2012. I got hired in August of 2012 by the fire department. Okay, just to give you a little timeline there. So now I got this confidence. I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm meant for more. Now, as my career is going forward with the fire department, there's a few things. Like one, I started to feel like this wasn't something I wanted to do forever for a few different reasons. But one of the things where I felt like people didn't understand me, and I also felt like people did not see my value. I felt like I had this value, and maybe this is an ego thing, right? But I felt like I had this value and I had something that I could give, and I felt like I wasn't being seen at my job as a firefighter. And I also felt like when I was on the training floor, people did see my value. So there was a sense of worth that I had training people. And, at the time, I was also the head strength coach for a football program over here. I did that for 2 seasons. And Union, New Jersey, we have a pretty big football program. That's my old high school. Shout out to Union, New Jersey, putting us on the map. But I was proud to take on that role as the strength conditioning coach there. I worked with, a ton of different athletes from freshman to senior while I was training college athletes at my training facility, as well as the general population. So that's where I felt the most free. That's where I felt the most valued. I felt excited. I felt like I could truly be myself there. So as time went on, I felt like, that's what I want to do. I don't really want to work in the fire service anymore. I don't feel valued. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. And it's the complete opposite in the gym. And this is what I love to do. All right. Again, I feel like I'm meant to do something bigger. I feel like I'm meant to impact the lives of more people and do this at a higher level. But there was one problem. The gym was losing money every month. And so I was losing money every month because I was going into my own pocket and the money that I was earning from the fire department to put towards rent, utilities, to keep the gym going. And I said, shit, man, I really want to leave the fire department, but I don't know if I can leave because I'm not making real money yet. And I don't know if I could ever replace the income that I'm making from the FD at my gym. But then I came across a guy that you may have heard of, Bedros Keuilian. Bedros is good friends with a friend of mine, Jay Ferrugia. And I heard Bedros on one of Jay's podcast episodes at the time. So I said, all right, let me see if this guy's full of shit or not. Because that's always where your brain goes, right? Like, is this guy full of shit? They're just trying to sell me something. So I started watching his YouTube videos, started looking at stuff, and then, came to the point where I was really I was just in a bad place with where I was in the fire department. I really wanted to get out. So it came down to the point where I had no money. I was living with my girlfriend at the time. I was able to pay the bills, but again, I was really just barely getting by. So I'll never forget the commitment for Bedros' online course was $100 a month. It was called the Fitness Business Ignition Program. And that $100 a month, man, it was like the last $100 that I didn't even have, I would say, because I put it on a credit card, right? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to afford this $100 a month. It's I think it was a 12-month commitment maybe or something, but I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to do it, right? It was this big investment that I made. All right, so that was around late September, I think October of 2015 now, right? So it's about 3 years into my career at the fire department. So, make the investment, literally studied every video. There wasn't a word that I missed. I studied every little detail of that video, of those videos. There was a whole friggin' database of videos. Started applying everything relentlessly. And all of a sudden, I'll never forget, I had 6 clients at the time. Okay. From October of 2015 to February of 2016. So what's that? November, December, January, February. So about 4 months. Okay. So in a 4-month timeline, I went from 6 clients to, I think, just over 30, maybe 32 or something like that, 34. And I'm like, holy shit. I can't believe I could actually make this work. This is legit. This stuff works. And it gave me that confidence. Right now, making money from the gym, it gave me that confidence to say, I can do this. I could do this. And I could really step into and lean into who I feel I am at my core. So, in February 2016, that is when I quit the fire department. Now, let me tell you something. When you quit a job like that, I was on pace. At the time, I was making, forget exactly what. I was on for a few years, so I was making between $80,000 and $90,000 a year. I had the pension set up. I had benefits. I had all that stuff, right? So when you're leaving a job like that, or when you're considering it, you're going to get a lot of pushback from just about everybody. People are going to tell you you're stupid. People are going to tell you you're crazy. People are going to tell you you're a fucking idiot. People are going to really just tell you that everybody has an opinion, right? Now, I knew this going into it, so there's a handful of people that I told. My mother, my cousin, Johnny Al, who's been a guest on this show a couple times, my boy Nick Stavrakis, shout out to Nick Stav. Jay Ferrugia knew. And I think that was it. So I knew that there was going to be so much backlash that I didn't want to affect myself. I didn't want to have those doubts, because once I made up my mind, I'm like, all right, I got to do this. I got to follow through. If there's a time to do it, at that time, I did not have kids. I wasn't married. I didn't have anything going on that would hold me back. I'm like, if there's a time to do it, it's fucking now. I was probably, what was I in 2016? I guess 28, I think, something like that. So I'm like, now's the time to do it. So I did it. And I was right about the backlash because as soon as the word got out, man, I had other firemen reaching out to me, telling me that I'm crazy. What are you doing? I had people from the department. I had, my dad didn't know. Like nobody knew. I kept it a secret from my father and some friends because I just didn't want to go there. But there were some people that found out, and you got all this backlash, and then you hear all these people are talking shit about you. This kid is fucking stupid. He's nuts. How could you walk away from this and that and all this noise? And guys, that's an important lesson there, is that when you make a big decision and you know that that decision is right for you in your heart, you know that that is the right move, you got to ignore the noise. You got to ignore those doubters, those naysayers, those fucking haters, because they will be there and they will be very, very loud for a short period of time. But just remember, it's only for a short period of time. You got to stay true to yourself, know why you made your decision, and this could be in anything in life, and push forward. Okay? So, quit the fire department, go all in the gym. All these people tell me that I'm fucking nuts, that I'm crazy, all this stuff, right? But now I am finally thriving personally, professionally. I walked away at the time. I was making 80 grand. I was on pace to make over 100, right, within the next year or two. That was a significant amount of money, right, and the benefits and all that stuff. But I walked away from it. And instantaneously, I'll never forget the feeling on how light I felt after I just made that decision and I just said, I'm moving forward. Man, I felt like there was a fucking elephant lifted off of me. Like I couldn't believe how good and how free I felt. And that was like the thing that catapulted me, because now there is no plan B. Plan B is you make plan A fucking work, okay? So now I'm moving, we're growing. The business gets to somewhere around $10,000 a month, and I'm like, my overhead was very low at the time. You know, my gym was around 900 square feet. We're doing about 10 grand a month. Didn't really have staff at the time. Had one or two people working for me, and it was just, you know, minimal, just a handful of hours a week. So like pretty good profit margins there, right? And I'm like, damn, like this is great. Knew I can make it happen. Then I see Bedros Keuilian is hosting an event, the Fitness Business Summit in San Diego, California. And I'm like, man, I'm just kind of getting over my fear of flying. Forgot to mention all that stuff, but you know, now you know. So had this fear of flying. It's out in San Diego. I'm like, fuck it, I got to do it. Convince a friend of mine to take a trip with me to Cali, buy him a ticket to the event. He's not in the fitness industry, by the way. He just decided to tag along. And that event changed my life. I had to pay, again, it was probably $1,000 for the ticket, something like that, for the ticket to the event. Then you got to pay for, obviously, flight, hotel, and all that stuff. So that was a risk there. Got to the event, heard all these speakers, met a bunch of different fitness pros, gym owners, even got to go on stage because Jay Ferruggia was speaking, so he dragged me on stage, which was, I had to overcome a lot of fear and anxiety there. So this is 2017 now, right? Like early 2017. And Bedros does a pitch, and at the time, to work with him one-on-one, it was $9,000. Just for context, he charges $100 grand now to work with him one-on-one. So $9,000, I mean, man, what a fucking steal it was. But at the time, even though I was starting to make some money, like I didn't have $9 grand laying around, right? I had some debts that I was paying off and all that stuff. So it was $9,000 at the end of the event. After I just paid, you know, all this probably a couple thousand just to get to the event. So I'm like, fuck, do I want to do this? I decided to do it. When I tell you that was the best decision that I have ever made in my entire life, not only did I have one-on-one mentoring from Bedros, who is a multi-millionaire, and now, like, if you guys follow Bedros, like, you see, fucking just crushes everything he does. But now I'm working with him. I'm working with a multi-millionaire. We're having our half-day coaching meetings. We're doing our one-on-one calls. So as I am going through this process, like I thought I was going to sign up to just learn strategies on how to build and grow a successful gym business. But what I really learned was these habits and these behaviors that these multimillionaires have, and how to handle yourself, and the discipline that I needed to install into my life, and how to run a business, and not only run a business, but run my life. Like, as Bedros always says, not only are you the CEO of your business, but you are the CEO of your life. And how you do anything is how you'll do everything. So the time that you go to sleep, the time that you wake up, your morning routines, your habits, your fitness, your diet, all those things, that's all part of it. It's all part of the process, and how much money you can make, and how much your business could grow, and how many people you could help, and how many people you could impact and truly transform their lives at a deeper level. I didn't look at it so much that way before. So I started to shift my thinking, my behaviors, my process, and guess what? The business went from $10K a month to $25,000 a month, and just maybe a little over a year or so, maybe a year and a half, something along those lines, right? Fucking exploded. So think about now how many people we've been able to help because of that, just because of that feeling and leaning into it. Like, man, I feel like I'm meant to do more here. Now, a lot of us get that feeling, but we do nothing with it. We push it away because we're afraid, or because it's expensive, or because we have to make a trip across the country. We push it away, and we don't make the decisions that we know we should be doing. And as a result, we feel stuck. We're in the same exact spot a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years, a decade from now, because we decided not to take action. We decided to let excuses get in the way of not only what we want out of life, but who we want to become in the process. I see this all the time. I see it with fitness clients where people are like, oh man, that's a lot of money. I'll do it later. They put it off. And now a year later, 2 years later, they're in the same exact spot. And that fucking kills me, because that's what we're set here. I feel we're here to help people change their lives. But if they don't make this investment in themselves, I know they're probably not going to go anywhere. It's just because they don't believe in themselves enough to do it, right? And I see the same thing on the business side of things. Now, being able to coach gym owners, it's the same deal. It's like, ooh, I don't know if I could make that investment right now. Now's not the right time because I have this coming or I have that coming. It's like, man, I just wish that you can see that this is why you are where you are right now. This is why you're stuck. You got to be willing to roll the dice and trust yourself enough. As soon as you have a coach, guys, or a mentor, a program that you believe in, a business that you believe in, there's going to be risk involved. But what's the risk if you don't do it? If you don't take the risk to move forward, what are you risking? Well, you're risking staying in the same exact spot as you are right now, or worse, taking a step backwards, bankruptcy, having to close your business because you decided not to take action and not do the fucking work that is required of you. What about fitness-wise? What happens? A heart attack, cancer, diabetes, a stroke, poor energy? How many experiences do you miss out on because your energy sucks, or your joints hurt, and you feel like shit, and you're tired, and you don't want to get out of bed? What are you missing? What are you trading for that? You got to start to look at the other side of things, guys, and realize that every single high performer has invested in themselves at one point or another, and that doesn't really stop, because I'll tell you what, that first was $100 a month, then it was a couple thousand to make the trip to California to go to that event, then it was $9,000, but then guess what? I worked with Bedros for 4 years after that, one-on-one. That $9,000 turned into 15 the next year. It turned to 25 the next year. It turned to 50 the final year. It went up every year. And guess what? Yeah, that number makes your fucking butthole pucker just a little bit, right? But you know that when you make those decisions, you're probably making the right call. So with that being said, gym goes from 10 grand a month to 25 grand a month, right? But now it's like, all right, I'm doing all this. I've proven that I can do it. The business is successful, and we've been able to grow sustainably. We're impacting lives. We're changing lives. You guys could probably guess what happens next internally for me. I feel like there's more to do. I feel like I'm meant for more. I could do bigger things. I could help more people. I could help people at a deeper level now. Because now the gym probably had 120, 130 clients, something along those lines. I can't personally work with those people. The business is too dynamic now. Now there's marketing, there's a staff, there's a sales process that's happening at a higher level. There's fulfillment issues. There's all these things that are happening. So it's like those things, as business grows, it pulls me kind of off of the floor so I can now drive the business forward, right? So as this starts to happen, I start to look at, okay, so now we're getting this stuff. I'm spending my time on this. But I've been able to free up some of my time too, and that should be your goal as a business owner, right? Is to buy back your time and buy back your freedom. And now it's like, okay, well, I love coaching people still. Like I still love helping people, but I feel like my team is doing a good enough job, and I'm looking at the next thing. So that led to online coaching, and online coaching drove up my revenue, right? And I started to help people, and I got to work with people from all over the world. Had people from New Zealand was probably my client that was on the other side of the planet, but London, all over California, California, but all over the U.S., I was going to say. Got to meet great people from all over the place and work with them online. Then I started running retreats for men. That was the next thing, right? Then it started going to, all right, cool. Like, I feel like we're doing really good with the gym, but, revenue-wise, I feel like we could move the needle even further, right? So I hired new coaches, new mentors to work with to help me grow there, right? To take it to the next level. So we got from 25K to 35K to 40K and growing, right? So learning these systems and strategies, and then hiring more of a team, like, now my role has shifted so much, and I get so fired up about helping other coaches. So for me, I'm learning all these systems and strategies and ways to help improve our service and help impact the lives of people even deeper, but now teach these things to my team and teach coaches how to be better coaches. So I have these young, hungry coaches now that are working for me that I get the opportunity, whether they come to me as an intern or this is what they want to do with their lives. I understand that my role now is different. I need to take a step away and train my guys and girls to be great coaches so they could impact more people, and then that could spread. But then when I'm learning on the business side, because I'm learning how to apply this stuff to my business and grow my team, well, guess what? That led to, I feel like there's more opportunity here, right? I feel like I'm meant to help more people. And I think back, I was able to, about a year and a half ago, I thought back about like, all right, who is it now that I want to help and that I want to serve? And it was the struggling gym owner, because I've been there, right? I've been on that other side. I've been struggling, broke, trying to make it work, just clawing to figure it out. How do I fucking do this? I didn't know how to do it, but I learned, right? And now it's my job to give back to these other gym owners and help these guys and girls from all around the world make the money that they deserve, leaving, and helping more people, making more of an impact. Because that's what it's about. Like, if I'm going to impact the lives of more people, well, it's what better way to do it by train other gym owners who are great coaches, by the way, right? That's one of the prerequisites for working with my partner, Joe DeFranco, and I. But if you're a great coach and you are doing great work, but you just don't know how to get your word out. You don't know how to grow your business. You don't know how to manage your systems. And you just feel like you're working from 5 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, and you're missing out on these opportunities and experiences with your family, with your friends, and you're just struggling, and you have the stress because you can't figure out how to make ends meet. Man, I want to help that person, right? And when I presented that idea to Joe DeFranco, he was like, fuck, man, I'm all in. Like, he struggled with it too. So that's how the Iron Business Blueprint was born, and that led to us launching the Iron Business Weekend, and now we're helping gym owners from all over the world. We're going to have some interviews with some of our coaching clients, either on my podcast, this podcast, or Joe's, very soon, for them to tell their stories. But seeing these guys that were making $5,000 a month, if that, and really struggling, now making $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month over a 90-day period, man, that, like, when I talk to these guys and they tell us how this is changing the lives of their families, not just for them, not just for their clients, be able to provide a higher level of service. Think about what it's doing for their clients, but what it's doing for them and their families, for their children. They don't have to worry about bills anymore. They could have the freedom in their businesses and in their lives to be able to help and impact, and now spend more time with their families and be there to watch their kids grow up and live life on their terms. That's what it's about, right? And so the point of this whole conversation and what it comes down to is, hey, listen, it doesn't matter if you are a mom or dad that knows you need to get your health in check. You need to get fit because you feel like you're capable of more. You have the opportunity to live a higher quality of life. You have the opportunity to be more present for your family. You have the opportunity to be more confident. You have the opportunity to grow in your relationships. You have the opportunity to grow personally, professionally. It's all right in front of you. And if you are the gym owner, you have an opportunity where you feel like you're meant for more. You feel like you could be impacting the lives of more people. You feel like you have a great product or service. You just don't know how to get the word out there. And you feel like you're burning the candle at both ends. You want more freedom in your business. You want more freedom in your life. You want to be able to make more money, change more lives. You have the opportunity to embrace that and grow your business. The only ceilings, it doesn't matter who you are listening to this right now, the only ceilings that we have are those that we place on ourselves, right? And I know that that's a cliche, but it is true. Those ceilings are glass ceilings. You could shatter through them and you could go to the fucking moon, whether it be in your business, your health, your wealth, whatever it is. You have the opportunity to grow. You have the opportunity to thrive. You weren't put here to just fucking survive. You were put here on this planet with a purpose. You were put here on this planet to leave a legacy, to leave your mark on the world, to impact your family, your clients, your coworkers, your parents. You were here to impact the lives of others. As my friend Jay Ferrugia says, everyone is an influencer. You're influencing those people that are around you every single day. Your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions will carry over and influence so many people in your circle that you have to recognize the fact that this isn't just about you. You have to get over that fear. You have to get over that doubt. You have to get over those insecurities. But you'll only do that by finding the right people and getting in the room with them. Sometimes, guys, like from my experience, you have to pay to get into the room. But when you do, if you do the work, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in the program that you invest in, your coach, your mentor, if you believe in it and you fucking work, and every day you strive to get 1% better, you will be a different fucking creature. And 12 months from now, people will not recognize you. You will barely recognize yourself. You'll be looking back and say, how the fuck was I living that way? How didn't I do that sooner? And I'm speaking to you firsthand. But it's up to you to make the leap. So, I want to let you guys know, if you are a gym owner, the Iron Business Blueprint Class 3 begins on September 10th. We have about 5 spots that are still open for it. If you are interested in working with Joe DeFranco and I and having us help you grow your gym, I want you to head over to ironbusinessblueprint.com right now. Right fucking now. Don't wait, because they will this thing. You're either going to forget, and then this program's going to sell out on you, and you're going to miss it. I don't want you to miss it. It starts on September 10th. If this is something where you feel like you are ready to take your business to the next level, to make more money, make more of an impact, have more freedom in your life, go to ironbusinessblueprint.com right away, fill out an application, and book a call. And for anybody else that is listening to this, knowing that you just got to get your shit together, well, if you want to work with us at Tutela Training Systems, just hit us up. You can hit me up. By the way, you can work with us in person at TTS if you're local over in Clark, New Jersey, or you could work with me one-on-one online, okay? For either option, just hit me up on Instagram at Chris_Tutela. Okay, just hit me up. You could either just send the word mentorship, or you could just fill me in on your status, your goals, and how I can help you. But that's at Chris_Tutela, Tutela. Let me know if you're local or not. We'll take it from there. If you're a gym owner, you go to ironbusinessblueprint.com. But with that said, guys, I want you all to know that I appreciate the fuck out of everyone, every single last one of you who has taken the time to listen to the show, to leave a review, to share the show. And if you feel that you're meant for more, just know that I hear you. I've been there. It's still something that every so often I go through, and there's a new change, a new phase, a new life cycle of business or something, that I want to do to get to the next level. I've been there. I go through this myself. We all do. You're not alone. So if you are feeling right now that you are meant for more, it's time for you to get to work. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate you, and I'll catch you next time.